African Ascent has recently been embarking on this joyous, although complicated journey of examining rigorously, that is, the connection between vision and social movements, or vision and the transformation of human consciousness. By way of realizing the ends of this particular project, the series began with a documentary that was done by a young videographer who recently passed away, who did a phenomenal work on Harvard University, which was quickly followed by a writer and a professor of literature, David Gillette, who took us to Nicaragua, to the shores of Nicaragua, and introduced us to the challenges, turmoils, and sufferings and triumphs of the Nicaraguan people over a long stretch of time to change their lives. We then moved on further and invited an accomplished writer whom many consider the one who has taken the torch from Faulkner, Stephen Yarbrough from Emerson College, who discussed extensively the penumbra of literature, the craft of writing, and many other important dimensions of his ongoing work on American literature. Then very recently, the series ended with a consideration of the meaning of composition, musical composition, that is, by Alan Levines, who is considered to be one of Berkeley's greatest composers. And our last and most important guest was the great Lewis Gordon from Brown University first, who moved to Temple and is now at the University of Connecticut, who really examined the intricacies, the complications and challenges of what it means to be a black philosopher or an African philosopher, by way of examining the dimensions and the challenges of Africana philosophy. Well, sadly, this extremely challenging series will end tonight, and I thought that the best way of ending this project was to bring two brilliant musicians, young but brilliant musicians from Berkeley College of Music, whose musics you'll be treated to shortly. They are Jason Sibi and Paul Sgroi. I'm sure I have bastardized their names somehow, but it's also accidentally the case that I might have gotten it right. So now, before they come back to have a full-fledged 1-hour interview with me, they're going to play a few of their songs with us. Enjoy the songs, enjoy the music, and most importantly, witness the greatness of Berkeley College of Music, the leading college for the study of contemporary music. Welcome to African Ascent.
I'm leaving town with a suitcase in my hand. Said I'm leaving town now, baby, with a suitcase in my hand. Said I'm going off to make me a better man. I've done you wrong, and that's something I now regret. Oh, I've done you wrong, baby, and that's something I now regret. That's why I got to go and do my best to try and forget you. Oh, and I come back. When I come back, I swear I'll change. Oh, and I come back. When I come back, I swear I'll be changed. And I'll have my whole life rearranged. That's why I got to leave now, baby, with this suitcase in my hand. Oh, that's why I got to leave now, baby, with this suitcase in my hand. I got to go, make me a better man. Thank you. The next song is called Over Again. It's a song I wrote. When I was a young one, I believed I could fly. I believed in my future, didn't think I would die. Till I grew a bit older, and I don't know why I gave up believing in life. When I was a young one, the whole world outside would mirror the world I drew up in my mind. Till I grew a bit older, and I don't know why I left all my dreaming behind. So I'm hopping on board an old-fashioned train, and I'm taking a ride down memory lane. I guess you could say I'm in search of a way to start it all over again. When I was a young one, you would seek, I would hide. You'd pretend not to find me, make me laugh till I cried. Then I grew a bit older, and I don't know why. Games like those don't cross my mind. When I was a young one, I would climb every tree and giggle at stories about the birds and the bees. Then I grew a bit older and started to see the love wasn't made like you said it would be. So I'm hopping on board an old-fashioned train, and I'm taking a ride down memory lane. I guess you could say I'm in search of a way to start it all over again. So I'm hopping on board an old-fashioned train, and I'm taking a ride down memory lane. I guess you could say I'm in search of a way to start it all over again. To start it all over again. When they say I've got no right to heed the voices in my mind, when they say that all my dreams are running on some borrowed time, when they say I'm bound to lose, I still roll the dice. And when they say I've got to choose between reason and my rhymes, that's when I'll keep moving. That's when I'll keep moving. That's when I'll keep moving towards my diamonds in the sky. Hey, alright. Whoa, oh yeah. Hey, alright. When the road don't seem to end, and I'm running out of light, and when time don't seem to bend to accommodate my life, and when there seems no hope at all, like it's time to step aside, when it seems I'm bound to fall and stumble in and out of sight, that's when I'll keep moving. That's when I'll keep moving. That's when I'll keep moving towards my diamonds in the sky. 'Cause my life's an allegory. 'Cause my life's an allegory. 'Cause my life's an allegory. Don't you see that my life's an allegory? That my life's an allegory, yeah. That my life's an allegory. That remains a mystery. All my secrets are yet to be revealed. 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 Said, I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in trench time. Observing the hypocrites mingle with the good people we'd meet. Good friends we've had, good friends we've lost. Along the way, in this bright future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say. No woman, no cry. Said no woman, no cry. Hey, 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 little darling, don't you shed no tears. No, no woman, no woman, no cry. Everything is gonna be alright. 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 Everything is gonna be alright now. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright now. Everything is gonna be alright. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Here, little darling, don't you shed no tears. No, no woman, no woman, no cry. Hey. Last one. This song is the last song we're gonna do. It's a song I wrote called Me and Father Joe. I travel about an hour or so I could talk to Father Joe. I really had to let him know what was on my mind. I said, Father, I've been a real bad man, but I'd really love a second chance to get to heaven if I can and leave my past behind. He said, tell me, boy, what did you do? Did you kill a man or two? Did you rob a liquor store? Tell me what you need me for. I said, no, it's none of the above, but I lived in fear instead of love, and I'm staring at the end of my life with nothing but dreams to show. For all I know, I could have been. He said, tell me, boy, what makes you believe that because of that you can't receive a place in heaven when you leave? Help me understand. And I said, well, by letting my life go to waste, I slapped the Lord right in the face, and that must leave a sour taste in the Holy Land. Then Father Joe looked right at me, and in his eyes I sure could see a man shaken to the core. He never thought like that before. He said, boy, you've made a real good point. I see how that would disappoint, and I'm getting to the end of my life with nothing but dreams to show. For all I know, I should have been. I had come in search of some sound advice in the hope that it would shed some light. Instead I saved an old man's life, and he in turn saved mine. And We both learned a lot that day and vowed to change our evil ways before we wind up in a grave, unprepared to die. Father Joe and I agreed to be the men we were born to be from Adam. You see, you and I both have the choice to listen to our inner voice and stop getting to the end of our lives with nothing but dreams to show. For all we know, we could have been with nothing but dreams to show. For all we know, we could have been.
Offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Or you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Wow, what a pleasure for African Ascent to be graced with the presence of two brilliant, and I mean this deeply, musicians in the making. What was remarkable in my judgment, in my philosophical judgment, is the blend of the instrumentation with the lyrics. How did you pull that off?
Just kind of happens after a while. Basically, when we were practicing this, he would play through his songs and I would try to write them down in shorthand. And then there's some pretty standard ways that you could, play more melodic things on top of what he's doing, above his voice and above his guitar. And so once you get that down, all you have to do is mimic the rhythm of, the melody, and you got a decent guitar part,
Yeah, I'd say, like for me, I like to take music out of the mind and put it into the heart. And I like to just express myself freely. And usually when I play, I give people like the basic structure of the song, and I love for them to just improvise and do what they feel. And each time we play, it's different because you feel different each time you play. And what Paul did was he just put himself into it, how he felt about the song and how he felt about what I was saying, and translated that on the guitar.
You're quite right. Because studying the contours of body, of Paul's facial movement, I thought, since musicians are, globally speaking, performers, that I thought that Paul might have been performing. But then I took a deeper look at the movement and convinced myself that it was a response to something or the other that originated in the lyrics themselves.
It doesn't happen often, but yeah, just now, usually you say, like, you thought I might have been performing. Generally, when you're playing, you know, with a group, you have, you know, prefabricated things that you go back to. And it's always nice to have a million of them when you get started, but you know, if you could get locked in with another musician, it's easier with 2 than it is with, you know, 5 or whatever. But if you can get really locked in with another musician, then it's a lot easier to forget about all your, you know, prefabricated things that you have on your instrument and just kind of fit, you know. And there, I think I fit better than I usually do.
Really
so,
fit.
well, thanks.
Do you think you fit?
I think it fit perfectly. I mean, this is the first time I've pretty much done this in the studio and like TV and everything, and I thought I'd be very nervous playing, and I thought I'd be a bit shy.
You were not at all?
As soon as we got on and started playing, it just fit. It was like, we didn't even realize we were playing for, you know, an audience, and until people clapped at the end. It was just the music, and that's an amazing feeling.
You know what this reminded me of, and I never fail to talk about this, is of this performance that Muddy Waters and the Rolling Stones gave in a Chicago lounge when the Rolling Stones were at the height of their career, and they were hanging out in Chicago one night, and they decided to go and visit with Muddy Waters when he had his own club. So they went. And then Muddy Waters asks Mike Jagger, Keith, and the others to come on and sing with them. The outcome was undescribable, in which you witness Muddy Waters' eyes just glistening with joy after Mike Jagger played a song or so, fully satisfied that he mastered the aesthetic form. And then you see the Rolling Stones themselves trying their best to impress Muddy Waters that they have not only mastered the aesthetic form, but have taken it to the next level. The outcome is this extraordinary, deracialized musical performance that I have witnessed in my career. This particular performance of yours, without any exaggeration, took me there. I loved the deracialized moment in which lyrics and instrumentation as universal aesthetic forms were interacting with one another and producing this great music.
Thank you. I mean, it's a tribute to a lot of things I guess we've both been working towards. I mean, I never grew up seeing color in black and white. You know, I saw the world as colorful, and music in particular is full of many, many colors and many, many ways of expressing those colors. And so to meet with Paul for about an hour and to have never really talked or bonded in that way, and then to come here and just speak from our hearts and play from our hearts and just give everything to each other in that one moment without any bias, without any, as you said, you know, racial divides or whatever the stigmas could be. And just to play music was just phenomenal and special, and I thank you. I thank you for that.
Oh yeah, it was definitely fun.
So, it's not really foolish, correct me if I'm wrong, to think that music cannot directly change the world, but it can at least change our consciousness. How does it do that?
I think so. I mean, like, I think music is just I guess, a vehicle in a sense, and it's like, it depends on who's driving. You know, it depends on who's driving that makes the vehicle either go correctly or off the road. And I think it depends on the musician who's playing the music. And I think for both of us, we have great love for what we do. And when you have great love for what you do and for each other, that shows on screen and it shows wherever you play. And that changes people's minds. It's a feeling that changes people's minds. It's not so much what you do, it's how you translate that feeling of love and respect to another person. And that's what I always try and do in my music. It's not really about like the notes I can sing, it's just how do I feel? How does someone feel when they listen to me sing? And if I can move someone to feel better about themselves and better about the world and better about their neighbor, then I think I've done a good job.
I think so. And what I'm also celebrating is this. Remember, I had discovered both of you are these two brilliant students in my introduction to Western philosophy course. And hardly did I know anything about the two of you other than what you were saying in class. And then I remember that day when I was quite inspired and just impromptu singled you out. I singled Paul out and I singled you out. I hardly knew anything about your friendships. I simply asked you to play for African Ascent. And you did.
An interesting experiment too, because we kind of ended up probably somewhere in the middle of where we intended. You know, because we played mostly Jason's songs, and then I was thinking more like play like kind of a pop, not pop. It's a terrible word, but playing maybe more like a blues inflection or aesthetic over it, and we ended up right in the middle, which is pretty neat. It doesn't usually happen. Usually one thing steps on the other one, so that's right. It's pretty neat.
And Jason, you have had a very interesting life. You were quite kind to me to share some parts of it with me. Mm-hmm. It's very obvious to me that you're a gifted songwriter.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
How does one write songs?
That's such a loaded question. I think I can only speak from my experience. I started writing songs as a way of, again, expressing what I felt that I felt I couldn't express through just plain words. And I also started writing because I was influenced by great writers, people like Lennon and McCartney. I remember being a kid and not really feeling like I fit in this world in a sense, but then listening to a song and going to another world where I fit in. Songs like Yellow Submarine and stuff like that. I mean, Michael Jackson the same with Man in the Mirror, and I just felt this overwhelming joy from somebody else's creation, from somebody else's story that I could kind of slip in and become part of, that I wanted to do that too. And then I found John Mayer's music, and he just does amazing things with lyrics and poetry, you know, and melody, and I just wanted to do that too. So I started off writing terrible songs, just putting words together that didn't really make sense. And over a period of time, I think you own your craft. And the best songs come out when you have something to say. When you really have something to say. Like, you can write a song just to kind of show off, and you can write a song that to try and get money or whatever, and fame and all that stuff. And you can tell when someone does that versus when someone really has something to say. I think there's almost this, in a sense, transcendent power of that, where you connect to something bigger than yourself, and that flows through your eyes and your lens onto a page. And it's hard to really explain how to write a song, because there are a lot of times when I sit down and write, and I'm in this flow kind of trance, and I wake up and I have like this amazing song written. And it's like, it's just strange, you know, it's like I birthed something that came through me. And it's different for many different people. For me, it's just purely having something to say, being honest, being respectful of the craft, wanting to inspire and to give. You know, when you come from a space of giving and wanting to give, everything flows instead of wanting to take. Because when I try and take, my songs are just terrible. When I want people to understand me, when I want the song to come across, it just doesn't work. When I'm like, how can I give? How can I give my perspective to somebody else? Then it flows, and then I write songs.
Incredible. At the expense of indulging in your kindness, would you mind if you replayed without instrumentation the lyrics of Father John to me?
All right, so first verse goes, you want me to sing it or just?
Sing it.
Okay, so let's see. I traveled about an hour or so I could talk to Father Joe. I really had to let him know what was on my mind. I said, Father, I've been a real bad man, but I'd really love a second chance to get to heaven if I can and leave my past behind. He said, tell me, boy, what did you do? Did you kill a man or two? Did you rob a liquor store? Tell me what you need me for. I said, no, it's none of the above, but I lived in fear instead of love, and I'm staring at the end of my life with nothing but dreams to show. For all I know, I could have been. That's the first verse. You want me to keep going?
Yes, please.
So, dun, 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 dun. He said, tell me, boy, what makes he said, tell me, boy, what makes you believe that because of that you can't receive a place in heaven when you leave? Help me understand. And I said, well, by letting my life go to waste, I slapped the Lord right in the face, and that must leave a sour taste in the Holy Land. Then Father Joe looked right at me, and in his eyes I sure could see a man shaken to the core. He'd never thought like that before. He said, boy, you've made a real good point. I see how that would disappoint, and I'm staring at the end of my life with nothing but dreams to show. For all I know, I should have been. I'd come in search of some sound advice in the hope that it would shed some light. Instead, I saved an old man's life, and he in turn saved mine. And we both learned a lot that day and vowed to change our evil ways before we wind up in a grave unprepared to die. See, Father Joe and I agreed to be the men we were born to be from Adam. You see, you and I both have the choice to listen to our inner voice and stop getting to the end of our lives with nothing but dreams to show. For all we know, we could have been with nothing but dreams to show. For all we know, we could have been.
Tell me a little more about the origin of this song. What provoked it? What evoked it?
What
caused you to sing it? Or did it write itself on you one day?
A little bit, but a little bit of both. I think I have this fear of not dying. I don't have a fear of dying, but I have a fear of dying without having accomplished everything that I would like and dream to accomplish, to do. And that's just been a fear of mine since very early on. I've always wanted a lot from life, and I've always wanted to be a lot in this life, and the thought of not achieving that just freaks me out. And I've always wanted a way to express that. And so I guess I just sat down, again, open and a bit broken at the time, because I felt like I wasn't going to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And it just came out of me, I guess. And I love this idea of the young being able to influence the old.
Of course.
I think that's phenomenal. And I mean, it happens to me all the time where I'll be walking and I'll see a little kid just joyfully skipping across something and being like, I want to be like that person. And this is somebody that I don't know, but just the exuberance and the joy and the new knowledge that this little child has to bring to my life is special. And I love the idea that I can influence people who have been older, or by my accomplishments they can feel that they can still accomplish in ages, you know. And so this really cool story came out where I was talking to a preacher, and I go in saying I want to get to heaven, you know. I want assurance that everything is going to be okay. And then in that dialogue, I switch his opinion on himself, and he realizes that he hasn't done everything that he wants to do with his life before he gets to heaven. And that was a story first. I just kept thinking about it for like 2 or 3 days and really getting like a kind of movie scene going. And then I just sat down, pen and paper, with that riff that you hear in the beginning, and it just poured out. And it really is one of my most special I guess,
I
truest.
can tell. Was
Truest.
this after the transplant or before the transplant?
This was after the transplant, yes. Yes.
Paul,
How
are
you
you
doing?
also songwriter?
I write bad songs.
Can I hear some of them?
Oh boy. Yeah, but I'd have to like play guitar and I'd have to get a capo out and I'd have to get a thumb pick out. And
I think it's a bit complicated.
yeah, I mean it's a whole production.
It's all
You know.
What did you think of Father John?
Well, that was my favorite one. That's why, you know, I suggested we close with that one. That one's by far the best. That's one of those songs that it's kind of like my favorite songwriter in that idiom is a guy named Townes Van Zandt, and the stories are never really explicit stories. They're never plots. They're essences of plots, you know, and that song has that, so I like that one a lot.
Now, I'm sure at Berkeley it is very difficult not to sometimes feel that you're the greatest because there are so many of you. How do you measure yourselves as musicians against all these extraordinary musicians at Berkeley? How do you deal with that? I
You wanna
always,
take this first?
I always think of that. It must be quite a burden.
Yeah. Well, I think the only way to stay sane with it is to acknowledge that there's somebody
Better than you.
not so much better than you, but there's somebody who's the best at every subgenre of a subgenre. Like there is somebody who can do one thing better than anybody else in the world,
I see.
and then there's somebody sitting next to him can do the next thing better than, you know. So you can't hold yourself up to international standards for every facet of musicianship, because if you do that, and you know that happens to me, I get into that, and you'll lose your mind after a while. So you just have to recognize what you're best at, and then try to learn as much as you can. But you can't, you know, hold you just because the standards are just too high for every little thing.
At the expense of embarrassing you, Paul, and I know you're characteristically honest, which is what I like about you. How do you rate yourself as a guitarist?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I mean, I'm definitely not the best all-around guitar player at Berkeley, but I'm also not quite as old as most of the guitar players, so I still got some hope there. But
How old are you?
19. See, good and better and worse is really kind of there's really like 2 or 3 levels of musicians.
Yes.
And once you get past the first one or the first 2, everybody's equal in some respect. Like, I could probably play blues and country music and Western swing music better than most people at Berkeley, and then maybe in jazz I'm in the 50, 60 percentile, and then in modern jazz I might be in the 30th percentile. I keep going up, more sophisticated, my number goes down, but you know.
And what did you think of Jason as a singer and songwriter?
Oh, very well. The songwriter, better than what I've, you know, a lot better than most, if not all of Berkeley's songwriters I've heard, especially that song, because especially, you know, in a school setting, there's this weird expectation of either, you know, you're either creating high art or you're creating commercial art, and it's almost like one or the other. It's just like playing guitar, you're either playing modern jazz or you're playing pop music.
You're right.
And, you know, realistically, there's a lot in between that, but it's really hard to teach in between that. So, as far as Jason's songwriting goes, it's in between there somewhere. It's, you know, commercially accessible to people, but it's also, I mean, aesthetically accessible to people. But it's also more, there's more substance to it than a pop song, you know.
Okay. And finally, Jason, we have about 2 minutes left. You can share it in any way you want. If there's something unique, something truly important that you would like to share with my audience tonight about music, what would it be?
Wow.
You might need a drink of water or something. Yeah.
About music, let's see. I think I'll make it more general, because I guess I'm assuming not everybody's a musician, but everybody's a human being. And I think the simplest thing I could kind of convey is to love yourself. And you hear that a lot of times, and it's kind of gotten a bit cliche. But when you really get down to it, that's what we're all trying to get to. We're all trying to feel complete and feel loved internally. Okay. And I think once you have that, once you can honestly say, I love myself and accept myself for who I am, then you can walk out into this world and be okay no matter where you're going. And if there's one thing that I've learned that I really want more people to learn is how to be okay.
Okay. And Paul, we have 1 minute left.
Oh boy. As far as music goes, I would say simply pick one thing to be good at. Because if you try to be good at everything, you're going to lose your mind. But more metaphysically, try to remove yourself from whatever your instrument is. Obviously, you have to play some kind of instrument, but if you could remove yourself from the physical act of playing it and make it more of a entirely cognitive act, then you get closer to pure music than, I guess, anything else.
So in a way then, by way of ending the program, there is a relationship between musicality and philosophy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This has been your host, helping you to witness a great musical event with emerging musicians from Berkeley College of Music, Jason and Paul. What a pleasure and what an honor for African Ascent to have hosted you for the first time.
Thank you.
Hoping that this would lead to a regular friendship between us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been your host, Teodros Kiros for African Ascent.